When our mind is directed towards God, we naturally begin to feel ourselves in touch with the Supreme Power in all our actions and workings. When this state of mind is permanently established within, every act we do will then seem to be a part of devotion or divine offering, and we shall thereby be in constant remembrance of God all the while. Inner vibrations in the heart soon begin to be felt by the aspirant. This is the beginning of the spiritual state known as Shabda or Ajapa. It develops automatically as we proceed along the right path under proper guidance. Certain people who practice japa outwardly for a long time sometimes find that even during sleep they go on with japa as usual. This they misunderstand as ajapa or shabda. It is not really so. By constant practice, their heart and tongue become habituated to it, and the action continues even when they are in sleep or otherwise unconscious. It, however, stops if they give up the practice for some time. This is only by the force of habit and is not the actual state of ajapa. The condition of ajapa, rightly believed to be a high spiritual achievement acquired after years of hard labor, is only a matter of weeks or rather days through right training by the process of transmission. The vibrations thus created remain for some time located in the heart, after which they gradually develop over to other chakras and finally to every particle of the body. It is then known as anahata. The method to be pursued, as recommended in our mission, is meditation under efficient guidance, which is by far the most useful and probably the only means of securing complete success. Generally, people complain of numerous ideas creeping into their mind at the time of meditation. They think that they have failed in their practice unless they bring their mind to a standstill. But it is not so. We are not practicing concentration, but only meditation. We must go on with meditation, unmindful of the foreign ideas that happen to come to our mind at that time. The flow of ideas is due to the activities of our conscious mind, which is never at rest. We are still busy in meditation with our subconscious mind, while our conscious mind is roaming about and forming numerous ideas. Thus, we are not the loser in any way. In due course, after sufficient practice, the conscious mind too gets molded and begins to act in harmony with the subconscious mind. The result thus achieved is deep rooted and lasting. And finally, calmness, the characteristic of the soul, becomes predominant. In certain cases, I have observed teachers exercising their willpower to stop the normal functioning of the mind during sittings, creating a temporary state of senselessness or suspension of the brain. The condition, no doubt, is most attractive to the beginner who is ignorant of reality, and he feels greatly impressed by this extraordinary display of power. In my opinion, it is only a feat of jugglery practiced by those who are eager to attract the largest number of disciples in order to establish their greatness as a guru. I would call it the greatest misuse of power on the part of a spiritual teacher who has perhaps no other underlying motive than self predominance. It is a wrong practice and greatly harmful to the spiritual advancement of an aspirant. Ideas thus suppressed or suspended soon begin to react with greater force, spoiling the entire system. Besides, the practice creates internal heaviness and dullness of mind. One who is subject to such a practice for a long time loses sense of discrimination and his power of realization gets blunt. Over the course of time, he gets completely spoiled and becomes quite unfit for real spiritual training. If a man does not grow lighter day by day, he must conclude that he is receiving the wrong type of spiritual training. Constant growth of lightness of mind and spirit is the surest test of spiritual progress. Thus, the real spiritual training is that which makes our mind disciplined and regulated, restores moderation in senses and faculties, and creates lightness of spirit. And a higher approach is possible. For this, the medium of a worthy master of high caliber, having the power of transmission at his command, is absolutely essential, and to him the aspirant must surrender with full faith and confidence. Some people think that initiation alone is enough to solve their problem of life. If they are able somehow or other to secure initiation with a guru, they do not stand in need of any further effort or practice. They think that a push by the guru will in the end extricate them from the entanglements of samskaras and maya and lead them on to liberation. The notion, though literally true, may not be very encouraging unless you completely surrender to him, and the master too is of a special high caliber. The thought of the betterment and progress of the disciple is no doubt uppermost in the heart of the master, for which he exerts himself as far as possible, but that does not mean that we may remain idle, doing nothing ourselves, and leave our share of work too upon him. We must, as our duty, try our utmost to save him from unnecessary exertion on our account, inasmuch as we can do ourselves for our advancement, and should in no case neglect our part of the duty. Most of the teachers of religion have adopted artificial methods for developing certain spiritual conditions in an aspirant, but it is a very defective process. For example, in order to practice jnana and create within the aspirant the state of Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. They advise him to meditate outwardly, thinking the same thing all the while and repeating the same words every moment. This is a mechanical process and leads to internal grossness. The real state of Aham Brahmasmi is never created by such artificial means. The repetition of the words over and over again helps him to form a habit of tongue, and the same words slip out every moment. It is absurd to conclude that thereby he has become jnani in the real sense.